Well, good morning, gamers. Welcome to the Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Bluthurst. Yeah, it's a Monday edition, and it is actually August 26, 2024. So we're getting to the end of the month, and we're gonna have a lot of cool games coming out. Star Wars Outlaws. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit. Gundam Breaker 4. And who knows what else might end up just like popping up. That's what tends to happen. Um, anyway, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about basically, since it's the Monday edition, the games I got to over the weekend, but also, man, my allergies are crazy. That's like a thing. There's a guy I knew. He was from Michigan and he was living here in Texas, and he was like, "Man, Texans complain about having allergies all the time." And because I leave her all the time, I don't really think about it. But yeah, there's these certain times of years where, and it's like right now where yeah, seasons are about to change, and then yeah, my allergies just flare up. So bear with me. I'm gonna do my best here. Um, hey Jib Killex, good to see you this morning. Okay, so let's see, what did I get into this weekend? Well, actually, before I share that, if you're interested on my Gundam Explain channel, I did a little bit of talking about Warhammer and Gundam. I mean, look at this thing right here. This is something I got at a local Warhammer cafe. There's one not far from me at all. It's actually pretty crazy how close it is to me. And it's been there. I need to show my support more because I would love it if there was like a Gundam cafe, but a Warhammer cafe, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so basically I got that thing because I was looking to see if they had any of the Joy Toy figures because I'm collecting those. In fact, I got the Tyrannid right here. Pretty cool. And actually, this really is good. Like, at first I was looking, I was like, this seems kind of basic, but once you start moving it around and stuff. Jim Kill, I'm from Ohio, Allergy Ground Zero. Okay, well, then you know what I'm going through, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so anyway, I'm on this big Warhammer kick, right? So like it's mainly because I'm excited about the Space Marine 2 coming out because I loved the first one. And over Christmas holiday, my Christmas game was Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun. It had a sale by the time Christmas came around, so I'd played it. So I've had a good fill of Warhammer stuff to kind of get me excited about Space Marine. So to show what I've been playing this weekend, it actually started where I did, in fact, play some Space Marine. I was actually showing my youngest. I was kind of looking to see how much it held up, and it actually does pretty good. There's a few things that it could do, like they could make a modern remaster, but just do some slight tweaks. Like for its time, the game was amazing, and it still is. But and then I looked at like I didn't realize how much I had actually played online. I didn't realize that the multiplayer part because I saw where I had a certain multiplayer level and ranking, and then like you can unlock stuff I didn't even know about because I didn't really play it for the multiplayer, but I guess I stayed around for it. But then I went back to Dawn of War 2 Retribution. This is the only Dawn of War game, specifically expansion, that I never beat because I beat the other expansions for Dawn of War 2. And at the same time, by the time I had already beaten everything else, after that, they went back and added achievements. So if I wanted to get achievements in the first Dawn of War, second Dawn of War, I'd have to play through them again. In fact, I think even the first Dawn of War, when that came out, even though there was Steam, it was still me buying the physical, installing it. Second one, maybe there was a bit of that until the expansions came out. But anyway, they've added achievements, so I could go back, earn those. I never went through all of Retribution, so this gives me a chance to do that and get achievements. And again, I'm always bringing up achievements, but the reason I like them is because they are a sort of log of my gameplay. If I have an urge to go back and play a game, I can see, well, is there something else in the game I haven't experienced yet that the achievements can tell me about? Also playing Bolt Gun because just this at the beginning of the summer, I think it was, that they announced the expansion Forces of Corruption, I believe it's called. I've been playing that. It's It's a ton of fun. You know, a bolt gun. Yeah, I can't believe I've put almost 14 hours in a bolt gun. And forgive me, I'm again my allergies. So, the interesting thing with bolt gun is like I think it's a fun game, but it's not as good as I was hoping it would be. But it's still good enough that makes it worth playing. Like it's an interesting sort of thing that sometimes happens with a game when I'll see a game that it's like I was expecting something else, but this is still okay. And I think it's just because the nature of bolt gun, it comes from that era of Doom, a little more like pre-Quake, even though it seems like it uses more Quake style technology in the engine for it to be a first-person shooter. It still plays more like a Doom. So in terms of gameplay elements, it is dialed back a bit. And then Black Myth Wukong. I'm 6 hours and 43 minutes in. Excellent game. I love Black Myth Wukong. I think it's a great game. And it's interesting because there's a lot that's not there that I think helps it make a good game. And what that is because of there's not a focus on exploration and having a big map, there's just this awesome pace to it where when you just load into the game, there is something to do. You don't wander around or get lost, even though that is possible here. There's not a map. There's not a mini map. But I've even gotten to a place where it's very interesting because, the game is still laid out like a Souls. I would say specifically Neo in terms of like the shrines. It's very similar. There'll be a part where, I'll hit a shrine or checkpoint and then I'll see, okay, there's two ways I could go here. I'll just keep going this way. And as I go, I'll come across enemies and then I'll accidentally come across the boss. I'm like, oh my God, but I beat the boss. I'm like, okay. And then, and because of what happens is sometimes a scene will trigger and then you have to fight a boss. So it's not like I can get out and like, oh, I want to explore first. And then you beat the boss and then it triggers taking me to the next area. So it's like, I'll go far and then I'll use the fast travel that's at the shrine to go back to where I was before, where I was like, I'm sure there's another area. And there was indeed, like, I went a whole other path. There was a whole other boss and there was more to go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this later. Yeah. In fact, it started opening up other areas. And I'm like, okay. So at some point, and I think I'm either in end of chapter 2 or chapter 3, I don't know, but it is branching off, which I like because that gives it some more interesting, unique things to do in the game without it being bogged down by backtracking and having to look at the map and like, okay, where do I go? This game, it reminds me of how I explained, what game was that I was playing recently? There's that Almost Human, is it? That where it was like, it was survival, but crafting, but with the crafting, it was like super simple. Like, V Rising. Yeah. It was where like, it gets out all the work done and out of the way, makes it quickly like, okay, yeah, just get your walls built in your house. It's like that playing Black Myth Wukong. You get into the game, it's like, okay, here's enemies and there's a boss. No matter where you spawn at, there's stuff to do. And if you're the type of person that likes to grind to level, it's so easy to do it in this. And it's a lot of fun too, because every time you're going up against enemies, they are tough in the aspect that, yeah, they can kill you, but you end up just respawning real close back to where you were and you don't lose anything. What I like about that is it makes it where each enemy encounter is difficult and it requires me to really think about it if I wanted to. And there's so many different moves and abilities in this game. It's like you can start up a game at any time, like, okay, I'm going to test this stuff out. And you can respec your character and test out other things. It's the thing about Black Myth Wukong is it's doing what's right. It makes it very accessible just to get in and play. Its accessibility to get going is what it has going for it. Not that it's an easy game. Not that it's an empty game. But it's made to just be a game that you just get right to it. So that's contender for Game of the Year for me. It's very interesting because it's not like it's doing anything revolutionary, but it is being just straight up fun to the core. And it runs so good. It runs so good. And actually, I was listening to a video that says don't expect 60 FPS with ray tracing at 4K, which maybe that would be obvious, but there was a time where I was able to get that in my games easily. I think now we're at the point where even my hardware is a little dated. Okay. So other than that, Call of Duty. My youngest and I have been playing a lot of Call of Duty because it's now on Game Pass. Black Ops 6 is going to be on Game Pass. It's going to even have the beta on Game Pass. So it's fun because it just makes it accessible. We have the Xbox in the living room, upstairs, PCs. I have a PC, so anyone can get on and play some Call of Duty on Game Pass, and then everyone's playing. A lot of fun. It's very interesting, though, that this shows up as Modern Warfare 2 for me when we're really launching 3. But this is also because I'm doing it on the Xbox app on PC, and I'm not doing it through Steam, which I was before. And I was just curious to test it out, so I uninstalled it on Steam to install it with the Game Pass to see if there's any difference. I didn't notice any difference because some games I've noticed differences. What was a game recently I played? Suicide Squad runs better on Steam than it does on Epic Game Store. And I know that that was the case with some Microsoft games. I can't, or using the Xbox app. I can't think at the moment, but all right. So, yeah, my weekend was filled with Warhammer stuff, Call of Duty, and then Black Myth Wukong really is the show stealer here. This is the game. I'm hoping either I beat it or I get satisfied enough with how far I get by the time Gundam Breaker 4 comes out Friday and then Star Wars Out, or is it reversed? Gundam Breaker 4 might be Thursday and then Star Wars Outlaws is Friday. It's crazy week. Crazy week for games. Okay. Let's move on to some news. So I picked some articles. I hadn't even read them yet, but I thought they were interesting. That's weird. I was just looking at like my camera's acting odd, but I mean, that doesn't really matter right now. Anyway, Steam achieves 37.2 million concurrent players, breaking all previous records. Steam's concurrent player record has been broken again. The newest data shows that the platform managed to attract over 37 million users over the weekend, breaking the previous record of 36 million users set 5 months ago. I wonder if that was around the time of Helldivers 2. And now it's around the time of Black Myth Wukong. It looks like he's going to say that. It's no surprise that Steam has had such a huge has had such huge activity recently, given the hype in the gaming industry following Gamescom 2024. That's a good point too. And the release of the highly anticipated Black Myth Wukong. New data from the SteamDB shows that the platform has now seen a peak concurrent player count of 37.2 million, breaking its previous record. Steam has seen massive growth over a matter of days in player count, and we all know the reason behind this is the release of the iconic Black Myth Wukong, which has managed to break all industry records when it comes to single-player titles, since the game is now second only to PUBG regarding concurrent user. Oh, wow, second to PUBG. I didn't know PUBG was that big still. Interesting being shown an ad for diapers. What are they trying to tell me? Okay. Yeah, showing Counter-Strike and Black Myth, or Counter-Strike 2 are kind of like the top games. Black Myth Wukong has sold 10 million copies in just 3 days and hit 2.3 million concurrent players on Steam. That too in quite a short time span. For those unaware of why Black Myth Wukong is such a huge success, the title's rich storytelling, stunning visuals, and unique take on the action RPG formula have attracted the attention of several gamers. Yeah, even the United States government, in which they had a campaign of DEI to try to discredit. No, I'm joking. That's a fun conspiracy theory, though, because why was there so much crap said about this game for no reason? I find it so funny. The title's close attachment to Chinese cultures and traditions is one of the main reasons why there has been a massive number of players from China, nearly accounting for 80% of the total user base. The title has also surpassed its expectations, receiving massive hype at launch, which is why it has been a huge success in the markets. So I love this thing, right? So it's like, for the longest time, it was like American, Japanese, or European game devs were the countries coming out with like the best games. And then we had South Korea with Stellar Blade coming out with a stellar game. And then China with Black Myth Wukong. China's always had a bunch of great games, but Black Myth Wukong is just so well done. It is so cool that there's so many more sources of video games that we could get. And that's the other thing with Black Myth Wukong is a lot of it, and it's hard to describe, it doesn't feel like most games. You know, after Call of Duty, all first-person shooters are you pull the left trigger, the aim, and they all kind of feel the same. Black Myth Wukong does a good job of just feeling different for just action combat. Even the feeling of my staff hitting the enemy, just the way you do combos in that game. It's just there's things about it that makes it feel different than the average game, and that's what makes it exciting. Oh yeah, even Rogue New Type saying Stellar Blade was great. That's cool. I've only played the demo. I enjoyed it. I need to eventually get around to getting it. That's interesting that I bought Black Myth Wukong, but not Stellar Blade yet. I think it's because of the PC thing. Even though it shouldn't matter, I think deep down inside it's like, oh, if Stellar Blade was on PC, I probably would have bought it right away. Anyway, that's just it's just so cool to see that gaming will, even if it has its lows, it still goes up at peaks. Like more and more people are getting into it, more and more cool games are getting made. Okay. Whoa, yeah, something's going on my computer, like for sure. Okay. Let's look at the Reddit gaming leaks and rumors. There's too many things for me to just make a single story. So apparently Black Myth Wukong, you know, it's not coming to Xbox due to a memory leak error. Game is basically finished and they're still working hard for it to pass Xbox certification, but it's still delayed indefinitely. It's very interesting. So it's interesting that it was just hard to get it to run on Xbox. And, you know, I don't know how much it has to do with it needing to be able to run on a Series X. You know, I don't know. On one hand, it's like that's keeping Microsoft behind, but on the other hand, Nintendo's been able to get away with it, but it's because they have very strong first-party games that can allow them to get away with not having good third-party games on their platform. So while Microsoft had good intention there, I think it kind of bit them in the back unexpectedly. I mean, I think it was the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. All right, here's another one. Valve are deep in Half-Life development. 2 Half-Life games are potentially in the works. We keep hearing rumors about Half-Life games, Half-Life 3, this, that. Although possible, it's unlikely we'll see anything Half-Life related for Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary, though. Valve are seemingly planning a celebration for it. And I gotta say, it's saying HLX. That could just denote that it's Half-Life something. Reaffirms that Half-Life is a flat-screen Half-Life game. Unless they really mean HLX is, I don't know. Addresses rumor of a game in development for Valve's Deckard VR headset, potential VR sequel to Half-Life Alyx that has some sort of asymmetrical multiplayer component connected to HLX. Okay, you know, here's something interesting. Half-Life Alyx, it's funny. Like, I played it, I liked it, and then I remember my brother asked, you know, oh, did you like it? I was like, yeah, but it's okay. And he's like, oh, no, it was awesome. I'm like, yeah, but did you beat it? He's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, Half-Life Alyx is fun, but it's not compelling enough for me to bother seeing it all the way through, which sounds bad, but it's like, Half-Life Alyx turned into a really good proof of concept for making a complete first-person experience in VR. You know, the controls are done well. It's just, I would come to a next section and it was just kind of like, okay, I do this, I do that thing. And part of it had to be too, I'm in this Half-Life world. And I think I mentioned this on a previous video, is Valve hasn't really done a good job of keeping that Half-Life world to be an interesting place. You know, the last game, what you had, the Half-Life 2 episode 1 and 2, you had Portal, which was in the universe, and then you had Half-Life Alyx. And there's not much to like keep you in the world. So when I'm in the Half-Life world, it's like, unless there's cool things to do, there's not much more else going on in the world. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Let's see what else, because I saw something else. Yeah, Tom Henderson says a lot more gaming handhelds are coming. Save your money a little longer if you're planning to buy one. It seems like a lot more options and improvements are coming soon. Not sure on exact timelines. Yes, this is, and I think I even brought this up in a previous video before. I was breaking down each company that is trying to come out with a handheld. Not only that, but how they're doing the controllers. There's variations of companies either making split pads or mobile gaming pads, which eventually I think they're going to all merge into one, and it's going to be made for a device. And I really do think there's going to be two different types of handhelds. There's going to be all-in-ones that are like a Switch Lite that are going to be cheaper, smaller, have less features, but the controls are attached to it. And then there's going to be what are going to be the standard, I think, portable gaming handhelds, which are going to be screens. Now, they might be shipped with controls, but they're going to be detachable controllers. I think they're really going to go in that direction. Anyway, I think it's pretty obvious that that's the direction they're going. I mean, look at cell phones. Like, even if you aren't a gamer, you have a cell phone. Just that form factor is easy. Okay. Nate Drake is expecting a direct this week. Okay, so Nintendo could have some stuff to say. That'll be interesting. I'm wondering when Nintendo will announce their Switch 2. That'll be interesting. Let's see. Liza P getting a sequel that could be open world. GTA Trilogy. Updated on SteamDB. I mean, isn't that where didn't it have like a horrible? Wasn't that a horrible port? Anyway. Ecstasis, Riders Republic coming to Game Pass very soon. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Although, I think that's on Ubisoft, because isn't Riders Republic Ubisoft? I could be wrong. Kingdom Hearts 3 Premium Showcase Leak build from Xbox. Interesting. Crash Bandicoot 5, the canceled Spyro crossover investigation video. That's interesting. Okay, so that's enough of the leak and rumors stuff. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole forever. Okay, MechWarrior fans take note. Boomer Shooter, Mecha Blood, Quarry Assault is coming soon. Wow, that's awesome. Crumb Games and publisher Judatone Studios are bringing Mecha Blood Quarry Assault to Steam, and it's a release that should be of interest to seasoned MechWarrior fans. Set in the year 2082, Mecha Blood places you in the role of grizzled former trucker turned robo-jockey Bill, who was involved in a dispute with Torx Corp over the mining rights to the valuable resource Fluxium 7. Evil Corp has not only stolen Bill's treasured figurines, but also his girlfriend Beth. Okay, I love the screens we're seeing here. It reminds me of those kind of old school PC games where they had to like fill the screen with like static imagery in order to allow whatever needs to happen on screen to happen. Okay, here we go. There's a teaser.
Welcome to Mecha Blood.
Wow, this looks really cool because I guess some of the neat things they're doing is having you, while it's first person, it has enough art around it, or visuals around it to kind of show it off as you're in a mech, and I like seeing the hand move on the joystick, and then even the way the mecha moves. This is really cool. Now, okay, I was about to say, is this real? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Is this real? Is this let me get this. Bam. And yeah, it is real. Add to wish list. It's funny just playing Bolt Gun, which is kind of the boomer shooter of, even as Bolt Gun. Yeah, Silico, that's a game I'm Silico. Playing that right now. That's fun. Wow, really cool. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's coming soon. Don't know anything yet, but that's a cool find. That was a cool find. Okay. Let's move on to like the news. Like, what is like literal news coming out right now this morning? Let me change that. All right, Liza P sequel could be open world according to new job listing. So that is cool. I never got far in this game. It was cool. It was really cool. It's just I'd done it before, so I didn't really feel playing it. I mean, maybe one day when I'm like really feeling like getting in a Bloodborne type game. Let's see what else. Crash Bandicoot 5 was canceled in favor of live service games, it's claimed. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, this is that Riders Republic. Yeah, because that looks neat. And I haven't bothered playing it, but this could be a chance. Although I have, because I have Ubisoft Connect. I could be playing it at any time. Let's see. Yes, team bringing records, esports stuff. Esports, we won. Yay. Oh my God, so much esports. All right. Sonic 3 movie social media account teases Keanu Reeves as the voice of Shadow. But wait a minute. Wasn't that already confirmed? Was that confirmed already? Or I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Because like it was originally rumored to be Hayden Christensen, and then they announced it was Keanu Reeves. I don't know. Let's see here. What's this? Scopos? Rainbow Six Siege's next opera. Okay. Yeah, I haven't played much of that, but new operator there. It will take 100 hours to fully complete Stalker 2. To fully complete, maybe. Yeah, it reminds me of the Dying Light 2 thing. When that came out, didn't they say it would take forever? Like 500 hours or something to do everything, and then there was like backlash met with that. And like, okay, to do everything. I have never, when it comes to a time it takes to beat a game, I don't think it's ever what they say or what anyone says, because I think everyone has their own experience with these games. Unless, of course, it's like an old school 2D side scroller or something. All right, let's see. PlayStation launches new capsule fashion collection. Okay, Valve officially announces Deadlock. Interesting. So they've announced it. The game is in early development. Interesting. I don't think it's going to be the type of game I'm going to play. I think anything that's made to be a competitive, free-to-play game is not really for me by default. I think what changes is depending on the IP or if it's gameplay that's kind of revolutionary or different. It reminds me, like, I never got into MOBAs, but I got a taste of it because I was so big into Warcraft 3, and that's kind of what it evolved into. And I remember once it evolved, and I was like, this isn't really my thing. I'm not really into it because it really stripped down to that competitive part of Warcraft 3. It's like, oh, let's just do this competitive, like, because in Warcraft, you can, like, make your own game modes and stuff and customs and all that. And so people were, like, distilling what they liked from Warcraft into this single little thing that spawned that MOBA franchise. But again, because by its very nature, it's supposed to be a competitive game, it's just not my thing. It's very interesting. It's like the esports thing. Is that word? No, yeah, like esports. It's in its nature, the purpose of that is to be competitive and win on a team. And look, I like winning with a team too, but my first thing is, okay, let's have fun. You know, I've always kind of been like that. Yeah, supporting Dying Light 2 until 2027 because that Dying Light Beast that got announced was supposed to be DLC for Dying Light 2, but it got leaked. So since it got leaked, I think they decided to go back and then remake it to be its own standalone game, but still supporting Dying Light 2. So that's interesting. We'll see how that goes. I played a fair amount of Dying Light 1. But I don't know what it was about the game, but I just there's nothing about it that really kept me going. It was like, okay, go do this mission. Go do this mission. And then come back. And then go. And come. I don't know. And then Dying Light 2, it had a little more interesting things going for it. Graphics were amazing, but still, there's something about it where it's like, I feel like there is restrictive gameplay in this open world. And I don't know how to explain it. I would love to sit down and fully play through one of these games, but yeah, it's that bloat I was talking about, like how Black Myth Wukong does a good job of getting straight to the game, getting right to the meat. And a lot of these open world games, you spend a lot of time just doing nothing. And maybe we're feeling that. And I think that's like that evolution of when like Assassin's Creed came out to now, how like even when Assassin's Creed came out and had all that bloat, that was fun at first. We all enjoyed that. And then over time, we're like, okay, we've seen this. Yeah, that Concord launch, guys, this sounds horrible. I'm actually surprised just because it has the backing of Sony. I would think just by default, if a big publisher or even studio, talking about movies, had enough marketing being thrown behind it, it would be okay. But I think in this case, PlayStation was trying not to lean on it like they didn't have to with Helldivers 2. And by just promoting it themselves, Sony puts themselves in a good position. But I think in this case, people just really, truly didn't care about Concord. And it's just kind of neat because personally, I don't either. And not that I'm cheering for a game not to be popular, but when I see a game, it's like, what are they doing here? What is this even? They're just chasing a trend rather than doing something unique. I would rather than the trend chasing not work out so they don't continue doing it. We're seeing that already. There's just this overlap of games that have already been in development during that time frame that are, it's like, yeah, don't release it, do that whole lost tax break thing, or just release the game. And, you know, in Sony's case, they just have another game on their platform for people to play. So, but like, it's so when something like Helldivers 2 does as well as it does, Black Myth Wukong doing as well as it does, and this not, it's telling me that at the end of the day, there are instances where gamers really are speaking up and telling the industry, you know, this is what we want. This is not what we want. And how I've even found out that, you know, I originally did not think all this DEI stuff was real. I really didn't think that, oh yeah, within the, I mean, I can understand having equality and inclusion as part of the fundamentals in like certain games. Like, let's say, what was like Red Dead Redemption. Let's say in Red Dead Redemption, there's situations where there's going to be some Native Americans in it. You would want to console with, you know, if that's through a DEI department, but then to get to some local tribes of what you're trying to portray and kind of get their point of view, but not to be like, okay, let's change this character, or you know what I mean? Like, and so it's just over time, it's come to light that, yeah, these programs are existing specifically to be like, let's change everything up on purpose because that's what people want right now. Not that they're trying to do anything bad. They're really thinking this is going to make money, and it just didn't. And, you know, it's an interesting situation because I did not think it was real. It is real. But I don't think the intention was bad in the first place. It just, and man, the guy, Alex from Star Wars, explains it best. He's like, when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, they said, okay, episode 7 here, episode 8 here, episode 9 here. We'll just write the stories. Instead of being like, okay, guys, let's write the stories for these episodes and then release them. So, and that's what I'm trying to get with this DEI. That was more of just, hey, the company mandates we're going to get this done. And that then is what overshadows everything else. So then everything seems bad, but it's not like anyone really had an agenda other than trying to maximize profit, I think. Yeah, Rogue New Times, it's always been about money. Yeah, I don't think anyone's trying to hurt anyone's feelings or exclude people. I really think at the end of the day, it's about money. Well, cool. That will be it. So what do we get from today? There was actually some very interesting news. I think my favorite was that MechWarrior Boomer Shooter. Although there was some other interesting news that I saw. Let's see. What was the other things? Oh, we had the Steam congruent players, like being so many at once that it continues to increase. That's just awesome. All right. Well, then I think that's about it. I got to head to work. But guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a busy week. And some of these episodes actually might be longer later this week. We'll see. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out. See you.